Greetings and salutations, this is Kung Pao Enter the Minute, Minute 13. Opening frame. A wide shot looking down on the Chosen One standing tall, his enemies surrounding him in defeat, as he is still screeching towards the unknown. We cut to a close-up of the Chosen One's O-face as his scream continues, intensifying to the point where he pops a neck vein and a spurt of blood flies into the air as he falls to the ground. Will this lead to the capture of the Chosen One and the success of Master Payne's evil plans? We cut to a building with a subtitle informing us that this is Crane School, as the Blue Man Group walks into frame and starts performing some combat moves. The group educates us that their sexual preferences are their own business, and we are finally introduced to two of our major characters, Ling and Wimplo. They are given the traditional greeting of Alfalfa as they enter the main square, as Ling Li notices a mysterious figure standing alone towards the back. Wimplo informs Ling that he's an outsider, asking her if she's seen him before. She shakes her head and replies,
"Well, twice."
Moving across to the left of the screen, Wimplo asks another member of the Crane School.
"Hey, who's he?"
After several seconds of mouth movements, we get the response.
"I don't know."
Cutting to what we presume is the inside of the Crane School. Sitting in the middle in front of a table is Master Tang. To his right sits both the Chosen One and Wimplo. We hear the tail end of the Chosen One's tale, informing us that the vow he took to find the man who killed his family, before asking Master Tang for help. As we get to the closing frame, Master Tang asking the Chosen One,
"And why have you come to me?"
accompanied by a whooshing sound as arms moves across the screen, stopping short of the left edge. So this is one of the most important parts of the film, as this is the very first single frame of reused footage from Tiger and Crane Fists. This is what I've been talking about. This has that cinematography difference I've been harping on about. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it, but like the color palette is a little bit duller here. This is, of course, especially compared to the previous minute or even the previous scene, where there's this kind of bright, vibrant green, and almost like the color in this is slightly diminished. It's almost like a Zack Snyder film. But even like the blacks are a bit more intense. This might just be the fact of the process of trying to restore such a degraded film. Like there's almost like a shift of the lights where there's like a blurring effect. But they try to replicate it as hard as possible. And for the most part, they do succeed. We'll see that later on in the scene. The shot matching and the set matching and the composition that is really unnoticeable. It's fantastic. For now, we're actually starting to see some 70s footage coming into light. So yes, in the original movie, it is the Crane School. Steve definitely tried to keep some of that intact. But what's really cool about this minute is that we're introduced to two of our important characters in the form of Ling and Wimplo. So before we continue on to the actual exposition part, what's really interesting to note is that the courtyard scene is also one of the first times we see the double digital replacement in this movie, where Wimplo and Ling mention the stranger in the courtyard. That is actually a shot from Tiger and Crane Fists. I'm not going to point out every single shot from now on in, but I think it's important to establish these. And that was a full digital replacement of Odenkirk in the character that Jimmy Wang Yu plays. I try to remember off the top of my head, I think it's Shin Chen. So most of the body replacement for the Chosen One is the character of Shin Chen throughout the rest of the movie. So this is probably the first truly dialogue-heavy part of the movie. It starts with the Chosen One in media res trying to convince Master Tang to help him with his journey, specifically his quest to find the person who murdered his parents. It's an atypical revenge movie, so, you get that. And of course, you don't have to... Modern filmmakers learn from this. You don't have to reiterate the entire premise every single time. I've seen plenty of films fail at this, but so it's actually refreshing this dumb, goofy movie can actually get this right. But of course, being a very dialogue-heavy piece of the movie, it still adds some jokes in there. Part of the ongoing joke of this movie is that it's supposed to be aping the American or English language dub of a lot of Asian cinema back in the day, and a lot of it was I guess what the one day refer to is like the Japanimation effect, where they don't tend to recut a lot of the movie to fit dialogue. They'll just fit the dialogue to fit the original cut of the movie. This happens a lot in animation, where there's a gap in the animation when it's continuing, but the translation between Japanese and English, the English will come up a bit short, so they'll sometimes, the mouth is still moving, so they'll sometimes have a ah sound or something after it to bridge that gap without editing. And the other flip side of that is when they have to speak really fast because they've got a really short amount of time and they have to say something really quickly. Oh, I'm never going to do that again. So that leads to a lot of dubbing jokes. Even though the funny thing is with this movie, they don't particularly go for that kind of humor. Steve Odekirk just literally re-edits the entire movie, so he doesn't really have a need to try and do that, which I think actually helps with the flow of this movie. But this does allow him to do gaffes inside the gaff. So the new content, whenever somebody is speaking, they're speaking an alternate script. So there's some weird continuity if you listen to what they're really saying. This particular section, Odekirk is talking about pies. And this entire thing, he's kind of just referring to pies all the time. But then he can still play around and have the dumb joke where the guy in the crane school, he's speaking for several seconds, and just to have, I don't know. It's really good. It's a lot of fun. So this also includes some music from the original movie. The sting when they cuss the chosen one in the crane school, that is from the original movie, and it's actually peppered throughout this entire film. If you haven't seen the original movie, you probably wouldn't guess that, but a little bit of information goes a long way. I will admit, these next few minutes probably might not be the most action-packed. It's a lot of exposition, but it also packs in the jokes, so we're going to have a good ride regardless. So we'll just continue on to the audio commentary, where Steve praises the original actors.
All these actors are just wonderful. I just loved the feel of all of them. Ling, I couldn't be more enamored with those curly cues on the side of her face.
And they explain some of the process that's involved in making this film.
For the most part, when you're watching the film, I'm either inserted in the film over where Jimmy Wang Yu was. He was erased by Chris Watts and his team, and I was put into that setting like that last shot. Or this is a set that we built to match that set, which is old footage.
So what are they really saying? Well, if you can understand Mandarin, I think. There's a lot of Mandarin in here. So the only bit of English we get is the chosen one saying,
My favorite pie is lemon meringue. Can you serve it?
And because it's really funny, let's cut to the audiobook.
Our sexual preferences are our own business.
And I just love the subtle. So that is it for minute 13 of this podcast. I genuinely can't believe I have made it this far. This is by far the longest running podcast I've done, mostly because I can just knock these out by myself for the most part. If you call the last 2 weeks, I had my first guest host. I've got another guest host lined up 15 episodes from now, so maybe I'll get someone else in the meantime, bridge that gap. I don't know. If any of my friends are listening and they want to come on, please let me know. I'll either choose some minutes for you if you've got some minutes in mind. If you've got a stupid thing you want to put in, let me know. So as always, please check me out on my Facebook. If you listen to this on SoundCloud, check out on YouTube. If you listen to it on YouTube, check out SoundCloud. Do listen to it wherever you want. You do you. I have Ko-fi, I have Patreon. I'm still broke as shit, so please give me money. I know it's 2020, we're all broke as shit, and I would give you money if I had some. You know that. I mean, I already, give to Patreon and other things like, OnlyFans, because I love supporting people. Anyway, please go like, share, subscribe, share this around. I mostly really just do want to have people listen to this and maybe get a laugh, and I'll be happy if this is like the highlights of your week. I mean, realistically speaking, this is the highlights of your week. Jesus Christ, get a better week. Anyway, Until next time, stay safe and I'll see you.